Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Fan Racing YouTube channel. I'm your host, GordoGambles, and welcome back to another... Oh. I think I'm back here, guys. All right, welcome back to the Daily Fan Racing channel. I'm your host, GordoGambles. Today, we're talking about the Daytona 500 DFS preview. Of course, it wouldn't be the channel without some technical difficulties. And right on cue, there he goes. That good-looking man with a great hat. He's all gone. But we're still here. We're still talking about some Daytona 500. I know these will get sorted soon. We'll be here talking about some races. Here he is joining us one more time.
We're still here. We're talking about some Daytona 500.
But let's get into talking about this. I've been a couple weeks away. I will talk about that shortly. But I'm excited to see your face. I'm excited to talk about some races. Jason, how are we doing, my friend?
Hey, man, great. Welcome back, Gordo. It's great to be here. We're watching NASCAR right now. Duel's going on. Got some action. Duel 2 is going. Duel 1 is under the belt. We got to see Logano win. Made some green. Hoping for the same here in Duel 2. It's just nice to be back in the rhythm of pumping out articles, watching races. It's fun, man.
You said the magic word, man. You said green. That's exactly what we want to hear. We want to hear that green coming in, and I'm looking forward to doing just that this weekend at the Daytona 500. And Ryan, you know that I'm not the brightest NASCAR mind. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm learning. But everybody knows Daytona 500. Everybody knows it's time for one of the biggest races we have here, and I'm looking forward to it. Not only how are you doing, but also where'd you get that fine-looking hat, my friend?
Brett and I put together some stuff on a website so that way we can get some gear and look sporty when we do these podcasts. So that nothing special there, but it does fit well. It's nice. I like it. It's good quality. You never know when you order randomly online, but it worked out well. So I'm happy with them. Doing good. I'm a little burnt already. I've had my tooth worked on twice this week, and they're telling me I got to get a replacement. So stop drinking sodas is what they told me. But so I'm kind of battling that. It's a constant headache right now, and then you're dealing with all this craziness that goes along with DFS, and hoping Kyle Busch gets the hell to the back right now.
All right. Well,
you know what, Gordo, we're happy to have you back, though, man. Like, it was like I, for one, am. I mean, that host last week, I don't know what's going on with this David guy or Derek guy that Ryan brought on, but he was talking about all you have to do to be a better host than him is just not say that Ross Chastain is a poor man's Ricky Stenhouse, and then you'll automatically be a better host. So that's a tip. Like, if you want to be a better host than Derek was, just don't mention anything about that, and you're good to go.
Yeah. You know what? Despite that, I think he still did a great job because I was able to laugh at a NASCAR joke. You guys did such a good job breaking that down. I was laughing at stuff I didn't even understand. So it was great. And I look forward to learning more about that too. But you know what? I'm happy to be back. I did have a nice little week off last week. Busy times, but we're back here. We're back for the long haul, and I would miss this race for the world. Let's get into talking about this. Before we do, though, Ryan, we talked about your cute little hat, and you got to look good to make money. Speaking of make money, let's talk about some new things we have going on for Daily Fan Racing, please.
Yeah, so on the personal note, we did some affiliation with some companies. The coolest one probably is the affiliation with the Solver. So we now have a situation where all of our projections are going to be ready for all of our subscribers straight through the Solver. Of course, they're separate entities, so it's a separate subscription, but every race weekend when I put together my projections, it's going to sync up directly with their website. So if you're a subscriber of ours, then you'll get all my projections through them, which is really, really cool. If anyone signs up through our link, we of course get a kickback from them, which is really good for us, to help, expand and build and keep bringing people on. But just being able to be a part of a company like that, to be a part of the Solver, really shows that we had a great first year and people took notice. And then we also teamed up with a Grid Rival. They got a NASCAR specific contest going for season long. It finishes up this weekend with Daytona 500. It starts, and they're super low on entries. They didn't really get a good initial push. So they reached out to myself and a couple other people and really wanted to try to build as many people into that contest as possible. And right now it's the amount of overlay is ridiculous. So there's money to be made there right now, which is really, really cool. So been spreading the word on that. We got links, in my Discord, all over my Twitter right now for that as well. If you sign up through my link, I get a kickback from them. So it's a really cool deal for me. Even if you don't want to go that route, that's fine. It's a really cool contest. It's $20,000 the first, top 306 positions get paid. You at least double your money if you finish in the money. And there's only 100 people entered right now. So, depending on how the next couple of days go, you could be looking at a contest that only fills to the point where they start paying positions, and you can be cashing, doubling up money, and have a shot at 20 grand at the end of it. So it's a cool contest. Hopefully we can build it and help this company out. It's just something that they did late in the game. They weren't anticipating doing NASCAR stuff, and to make this stuff work in the future, we have to support these type of companies. So hopefully you guys will check that out as well, and maybe join it if you can.
Oh, well, you said the two things you had to tell me, right? Competition and green money, because that's what I am here at Gambles Gordos. I'm a competitor at that, and I have to place NASCAR lineups this week, and I'm looking forward to doing so, but I can't do that on my own. I got to listen to these bright, beautiful minds back beside me here, and I say we start talking about this race, and before we actually start jumping into the race itself this weekend, let's talk about these dual races. I know we talked about needing to get the bush to the back, no pun intended. We need to make sure we know what's going on in these duels. So fill me in. What's been going on in dual race 1 and 2 so far?
Well, duel 1 was very tame. The Chevy group completely blew the pit strategy, which separated the two groups, which kind of killed the race, made it unexciting, and really kind of killed. If you had lineups with a lot of Chevy drivers, you were screwed. Basically, they weren't finishing inside the top 10. I don't think we'll see that happen again in duel 2. This race just kicked off, got back green here, so they're early into this one. But it's been a really tame, really kind of boring show so far. And, this one, 22 laps in, is single file as well. So nothing too exciting. These guys aren't really pushing the envelope too much. And right now they're just seeing how things go. So nothing special.
Anything else to add on that, Jason? How are your thoughts on it so far?
Yeah, no, I think duel 1 went perfectly to script. At least, I think I saw Ford's kind of taking control of that race, and that's kind of what we saw happen with some of the experienced super speedway guys they had there. Duel 2, I don't like seeing Ryan Preece just getting shuffled back. That's going to hurt some of my lineup, so we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, we still have green flag pit stops probably to happen. You really like what Ryan had mentioned, that can really shake things up. So it's interesting to see how strategy goes with that and which guys come out on top, and that's going to kind of determine where this race ends up, it looks like.
All right. Well, you know what? I say this every week, but I'm selfish. Let's get into the Daytona talk. Let's talk about this big race here. And for people, like me, like my best friend Tooch, who's asking me, let's bet on the Daytona. It's a huge race. Let's do it. Fill us in. What are we looking forward to? What's going on in the situation? How many laps do we have? What's the average number of do not finishes, etc.? What are we talking about here? I'll throw that to you first, Jason. How's it going?
Yeah, Daytona, I mean, it's the biggest spectacle on the schedule. Like, it's the most tense race of the season. It's that race that when you're watching it and laps are clicking off, 20 laps to go, 15 laps to go, 10 laps to go, you feel the anxiety start building inside of you as these guys start running closer together. It's a race that, these guys are willing to put everything out there. It ultimately is always going to involve in some sort of carnage that you're going to have to cross your fingers and get through, especially from a DFS standpoint. The carnage can happen and you're just crossing your fingers, hoping your guys can make it through. From a betting aspect, though, the super speedways are really a race that anybody can win. So it's that race where you can go out and throw something on a guy who's plus 100, plus 10,000, like a Corey LaJoie, and you have a chance at winning those races. So yeah, it's definitely fun. It's fun from that aspect. One of the funnest sweats, I believe, out there. I
would have to agree. Larkin, anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, Daytona it's a crazy event. Everyone's wanting one thing, and that's to win the race. We typically see half the field wreck out of this race, and that really sets things up for some different winners. Last year, I should say, Austin Cindric won, in his debut, his first race ever. Year before that, Michael McDowell won, right? So we see these oddities, drivers that don't typically win. Those are for those two drivers, it's the only career cup wins they have. And that's really just a product of the race that we're in, not just because of drafting and being able to get your car up front, but when half the field's gone, it's really, you're not beating a lot of people. You're just having to beat out 5, 6, 7, 8 quality cars, and then the back of the pack guys. So survival is key for drivers, and that's something we're going to touch on with lineup building, of course, is we're going to try to hit right on the survival side of things. But the race is great. It's fun. If you're laying some money, if you're looking for some shots, I would sprinkle it out. Don't pick the guys, plus 1,000, plus 1,500. Get some of those bigger numbers, the Almirolls, the Jones, and things will shift after these races. But, get some of those numbers that are maybe plus 3,000, guys that can hit in quality cars and have some fun, sprinkle some money across them. And if one hits, you'll have a fun night, right? So it can be fun, but it's also nerve-wracking from a DFS and everything else perspective.
Fun is the name of the game. Let's get into it. Let's talk lineup construction. Let's talk about how we're targeting, how we're getting a bit different here. We'll throw it right back to you, Ryan. How are you getting a bit different here at the Daytona 500?
So, we're waiting on starting lineup to kind of get finalized here. And that's crucial. We got the second half of the Duel 2 to finish up, and then we'll have a better idea where everyone's starting. A lot of times chalk in this race doesn't pan out. I think that's the biggest key. I think Jason had some really good numbers on like Denny Hamlin in the 500 being 50% on the last 2 years and completely shitting the bed. Basically, it's just a situation where if half the field is wrecking and you got a guy that's owned by half the field in DFS, the odds are he's going to get taken out, and you'll have 3 or 4 of those drivers. So typically when we pinpoint who the chalk is, I like to go underweight. I like to kind of go a different route and try to be a little bit different in those areas. A lot of people are going to attack the back drivers, guys starting in the back. Yes, that's a sound strategy, but you still need the driver starting 8th through 15th, 16th. That's the range that's going to see lower ownership, that are going to have drivers that finish towards the front and are going to really make or break the slate in terms of taking down a big contest. That's the area that's allows you to be different, these low ownership, but then still gives you the upside of getting a good winning lineup. All
right. That's how Ryan's getting different there. I know a big theme of this show has been the differences between our two co-hosts here. Jason, how are you really targeting this lineup construction this week on your own end?
Yeah, I mean, just touching on what Ryan said. I mean, there is a lot of unpredictability in these races, and there are oftentimes there's you can't really predict what's going to happen. You can't predict who's going to make it through the race, but what you can predict is you can predict what the field's going to do. Right, the field is going to gravitate towards the back of the pack, and not only that, but they're going to gravitate towards those higher price guys starting towards the back of the pack, because what you're going to find out with super speedways, salary doesn't matter, so you can jam in probably everybody you want, and these casual players who are going to play the Daytona 500, they will, right? They're going to go down, scroll through the highest number they see there with the highest price is going to be the guys they click. So those guys are going to gravitate to the highest ownership. So you can get different just by fading those guys, right? And to Ryan's point about those high owned guys, looking at the last 2 Daytona 500s, the 18 highest owned guys, all guys over 20%, only 4 of them hit the top 10 in DK scores. So it pays to get different. Like I said, it's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to happen. So if you're going to get a guy through the chaos, why would you want to be a guy that everybody else has? So if you can just pinpoint who those chalk guys are, cross them off your list in GPP, and then start from there. Some other things you can do to get different is starting guys inside that top 10. Nobody's going to play the guys inside the top 10. A lot of those guys are going to be under 10% owned, and they do tend to pay off. I think we saw, when looking at the data, if you looked at the last 2 Daytona 500s, the top 10 scorers from each race, 11 of those guys came from guys starting between 5th and 20th position. And this is also a range where all those guys are going to be under 20% owned. Like, I think only 2 drivers in those last 2 races starting inside the top 20 were over 20% owned.
Well, you threw out a lot of fancy numbers there. Let's elaborate on that. And part of being a good co-host is putting up some visuals. So let's bring one up here. Let's take full credit for this thing here. Let's talk about this right here. The starting position for top 10 scorers on DraftKings over the last 6 Daytona races. Jason, you kind of mentioned it briefly. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on what you're seeing?
Yeah, this is really just breaking down like those top scorers and the range where they come from. And it really shows you, you want to gravitate towards the back of the pack that's where the most of the scores are going to come. And that's really a good approach in cash. Like as crazy and as chaotic as these races can be, cash games can be lights out money. Like, they're one of the most profitable things I play for DFS for important NASCAR, because all you got to do is start the guys in the back. Start those guys. If you exclude the back markers, your Rick Ware races, your BJ McLeod, and just start the last 6 starting position guys, oftentimes that's good enough to get through in cash, right? You get a couple of those guys through. They tend to score well enough. You have some guys, most of the field is going to gravitate to playing some higher named guys who're starting inside the top 20. You're just going to have lineups that are just going to be a mess, and just being safe is the best approach in cash. But in GPP, that's when you get different. And I think that's when you can start looking at those segments where you see some of those top 10 scores coming inside that top 20, top 5 right there on that graph. That's still available to get, lower ownership, a little bit more risk.
Now, to Ryan, as someone who is a GPP menace, someone who's looking to get different, how does this graph play into your strategy?
So, what he's talking about there, obviously it shows you that the majority is coming from the back, right? And a lot of that ownership, with those drivers is going to be popular. It's going to be obvious plays in a lot of cases. But if you look at just last year, Austin Cindric started 5th, won the race, led 21 laps. Chase Briscoe started 9th, finished 3rd. Ryan Blaney started 7th, finished 4th, led 36 laps. These are all guys that started towards the front. Blaney didn't see low ownership because Blaney's a super speedway, megastar. But, those are guys that you would typically look to avoid or go lower on. And while this area, the first through 10th, only seen 11 total top 10 scores over the last 6 races, they're still the ones that are getting you that big payday, that are on the optimal lineup, that are winning the contest. And because they're hitting, which they do regularly, 1 or 2 of these guys, you are taking on the contest solo, or you're avoiding the chalk and the ties, because you'll get some areas in the mid-range where there's 100 lineups that are the same or whatever, right? So it's really just about understanding, yes, the back is going to hit some. And last year it was David starting 34th, finishing 8th. Eric Almirola was super chalk starting 38th. He finished 5th, right? So the Almirola chalk hit. It's not that you want to avoid Almirola chalk or a guy that's that good starting 38th. You just got to be smart about it. You have to, okay, I'm going to play him, but how am I going to get different in those lineups and things of that nature? So it's really just about understanding where everyone sits, what their upside is, and then understanding, okay, if I just play a bunch of guys that are 50% owned, I'm not going to separate myself, and I don't really have a shot at the big money. If I'm playing tournaments, I need to find lower owned guys, and we know that there's going to be guys starting in the top 10 that are going to hit. It's just going to happen. So don't be afraid to attack that range. You want 1 or 2 of those guys. You don't want 4. That's the other keys. Don't come in here. Every year in the Discord, there's a guy that's got the guy starting 3rd, 4th, 8th, 9th, and 12th. And it's like, no. But, get a couple guys up front. I like the 8th to 15th range. That's a really solid range because you get some place differential, things like that. But, just a couple guys starting up front, a couple guys in that 20 to 30 range, a couple guys from the back filling that out. And that's pretty much what we've seen typically be the type of lineup you're looking for.
Now, those top 10 plays, they are plays that will make your butthole pucker when you play them, right? They are risky plays. Obviously, if one of those guys wreck out of the top 10, they are going to destroy your lineup, and that lineup's probably not going to hit green. There are other ways you can kind of get different, though, and not have to really get inside that top 10. Like, obviously, that isn't as an approach, but there are going to be guys who are going to go overlooked in that 25-plus range. Like, we saw Cole Custer start 27th in this race last year at like a 12% ownership. Like, if you just can narrow in on those guys, everybody else is going in the back of the field, right, and cross them off, and you're going to see the guys that are left there that are still in the back of the field are providing upside, who are going to be at that like 18% ownership, a lot less than those 30s and 40% guys. And another place you can go for some leverage without risking that starting a guy in the top 10 is the back markers. I know said you don't want to play them in cash, but in GPP, this race gets crazy, right? This race gets 15, 20 guys wreck out, which we've seen in the past. Like, not to undersell the carnage here, but in the last 10 Daytona races, we've only had 13 cars finish in the lead lap on average, and only 16 cars on average finish the race. For only 13 cars to finish on a lead lap in a 2.5-mile race, they got to have been in some sort of a wreck, right? So again, if you get one of those back markers, you can keep it clean. They're going to ride in at a 15th place finish or so, starting back in 35th and provide a lot of points at like a 5 or 7% ownership.
Man, I am hyped up for this DraftKings slate. Lots of things you guys have said have been making me look forward to it even more, and I say we do just that. Let's talk about our initial plays. And guys, I know we are doing this without knowing starting placement, and it's hard for us to know where our final plays are going to lay out, but let's bring up these DraftKings salaries. Let's bring up what we're actually going to be talking about here and dive into it. Jason, you said you missed me, so you get to go first. Tell me about your favorite 2 targets this week.
I think one of my favorites that I can just look at right now and see a guy who finished 7th in the first duel, who's going to come in at starting 14th is Bubba Wallace. He's a guy who's awesome at super speedways. He runs great at Daytona. He's going to have a fast car, going to have great drafting partners. He's going to be overlooked starting 14th. We talked about guys inside the top 20 tend to be lower owned. Bubba Wallace, you actually got him starting 18th in last year's 500 for like a 10% ownership for whatever reason. So I have a feeling he's going to come in way under owned. A guy who can actually absolutely go out there and win this race. I mean, he's a type, got the experience to do it. He's proven he's done it in the past. He's definitely going to have the team behind him to do it. Oh, I got to talk about one more guy, right? I guess to my next point is I'm going to stay in the Toyota camp with my next pick. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs. He's a guy. He had some trouble in Duel 1. I think it was a pit road speeding penalty. So I think he's going to be starting 30th on back. But he's also very cheap, like $5,800. He's a rookie. I think you got AJ Allmendinger starting back there as well. He's going to probably draw some more ownership. You do have Ricky Stenhouse is starting in the back too. Is a well-known super speedway guy that's going to draw some ownership. So you might be able to get Ty Gibbs starting from 30th on back at like a 24-25% ownership. When you look at your other guys, you're getting in that 30th on back range. Like I said, this is hard to tell without knowing what's happened with Duel 2, but I think you can get some leverage there.
Sounds good. We'll shift over to you, Ryan. What are your favorite Daytona targets this week, without knowing pricing and starting placement?
So, the first thing I'm looking for when I'm looking to kind of put my best foot forward is elite cars with elite speed, offering some place differential potential, maybe not starting all the way towards the back, but has the ability to win, finish at the front, and gives me some place differential points even if they don't ever touch the lead. William Byron is my pick for that. He is my top tier play, so to speak. Finished 10th in the dual race. Basically, he was the fastest of the Chevys. We got Kyle Busch.
Oh, no!
Kyle Busch spinning.
No!
Whoa. Oh, big wreck in the back. Oh, my God. Pastrana's wrecked his car. Austin Hill and Cody Herbst. Oh, damn. That's going to put what's his name in the race? That's going to put Connor Daly in the race.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Austin Hill's freaking stopped.
Oh, God.
Holy shit.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
Oh, my goodness. Suarez turned him right in the middle of front or back stretch.
Wow. That's terrible. Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Suarez not making no amigos on the track today.
Damn. All right. Well, that just shook things up. Kyle Busch, my favorite fucking play. No.
Yeah, Kyle Busch chalk. Not playing guy.
So we already got Byron pulled up. Let's talk about Byron. That's a big deal, though. Got some cars taken out there. So William Byron, fastest Chevy. Chevy screwed up the strategy in the first duel, right? So basically, he was the guy that would have contended for the win if they were all together.
Man, sorry.
You're good. You're good. They and finished 10th. Well, that's a race-winning car starting now 19th in Daytona 500. He's not starting 25th on back. He's not going to be clear, obvious place differential chalk, but he's going to have the ability to finish top 5. He's going to have the ability to win this race. He's won here at Daytona before. He's got a really good car underneath him, super fast car. So this is a driver that I think can get up there and win this race, finish top 5 either way, be a crucial play for DFS. If he stays clean, caveat, he has to stay clean, avoid the carnage. But I really like Byron. I love that he starts 19th. That's the perfect kind of cool, got enough upside, but not too chalky. So I like Byron. And then my cheap play, we should have told you Ty Dillon. So people want to get confused with Austin Dillon, his brother. But Ty Dillon finished last in his duel. Basically, his pit crew screwed up. He lost the draft a little bit. And so when they pitted, they went short on fuel. They took less fuel to try to keep up with the pack. That put him, basically in a situation where he had to pit with 5 to go. And he had to come in for some fuel and completely ruin his race. That's the good news for us, because in his last few Daytona races, I'll give you his finishing positions: 6th, 4th, a 30th, 22nd, 11th, and 18th. Anything inside the top 20 is a great score from Ty Dillon. I believe he's going to end up starting 39th. Maybe there's a change with provisionals and race-ins and however it works. But for the most part, that's the guy that's starting 37th to 39th. And is going to have a lot of upside. He's a guy that stays out of the trouble. He likes to ride in the back. When things go south, he's clear and clean, and that's why you got a 6th, and a 4th place finish there, and then an 11th and the 18th at Daytona last year. Personally, that's the type of play I'm looking for. People don't want to play him because he's awkward and does stupid things like tonight, and it always seems to kind of go wrong for him. But that's where we can take advantage of it. And I personally think Ty Dillon is going to be a great cheap option. He's going to be great for salary purpose, even though you're leaving salary on the table anyways. I just feel like Ty Dillon is in a great position. Now, with that said, if he busts, if he ends up 30-35% and he wrecks, obviously that's going to take out a lot of lineup. So that's, the other side of it. But I really like that play, 39th and a great track history here. So like Ty Dillon.
I like that play too, and I actually think no one's going to play him. I think he'll be low owned from the back. Like he's going to be one of those guys that's going to come in probably 15% owned from the back of the field. I feel like, yeah, absolutely. That's a great call out there. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. People do weird shit, man. This wreck's going to shake things up. Obviously, Kyle Busch is going to see so much attention. Anyone that's in an elite car that's starting in the back is going to see some attention. So yeah, Ty Dillon could go really under owned and that's great. I hope so because I want to attack that play.
All right. Well, actually, guys, when we have given out our plays like this, I'm just curious as to how do you think that wreck impacts the rest of the duel and the slate on Sunday, actually. Do you guys have any opinions on that before knowing the complete results?
Oh, it busts the shit out of my lineups, that's for sure. I had Kyle Busch in 2 of my 3 lineups, so I know Larkin was happy. I think Larkin was under on Kyle, so he kind of probably like to see that. But that's definitely brutal. It's definitely gonna, like you said, gonna make him massive chalk for Sunday, and definitely a guy who I will probably be fading in GPP.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It sets up a situation with Kyle Busch specifically. Ooh, Daniel Suarez missed the pit box, so he's screwed. Kyle Busch is going to be so heavily on. He's probably 50%, maybe more. And if he crashes out, you got the field covered. Now, on the flip side, if he finishes 25th after crashing out, he's still going to score you some points. He's not going to kill a lineup. His floor is going to be pretty decent. So you can take some risk, and that's why a lot of people do it because the upside's, pretty good, but or great, obviously. But it's hard to say. Austin Hill gets sent home. That puts Connor Daly in the race. You got some other, things going on that's, it's just interesting to see how that impacts it. And then now we're going to have a shuffling up of this race. Suarez missed his pit box. He was running second. Kyle Busch, who was leading, is crashed out. We don't know who the leaders are going to be. We don't know how this thing's going to finish out. And we could end up with more chalky plays or some plays that we would have wanted to target now finishing further towards the front. So we got 17 laps left in this race. It could shake things up a little bit.
All right. But with that, guys, we have covered a lot of things we want to do in this video. Over 25 minutes, 27 to be exact. We're going on here. When I think about this race, though, it is so monumental. It is such a big race of the season. So are there any final points you'd like to say on the Daily Fan Racing channel before we get out of here?
Not for me. I mean, this race it's fun. Have fun with this one. This is not the race to be like, oh, I had the wrong strategy or it's fun. It's a complete wild card. No one knows what they're talking about. Like, you can build lineups with some strategy involved. You can have mindsets. Like I said, I like attacking 8 through 15 as my way of being different, but that's just a way of building lineups. That is not an end all be all. There are 15 ways to attack these races, and they all could be wrong come, Sunday by 6 o'clock when guys are crashing out. So have fun. If you're looking for doing straight bets, just picking race winners, again, sprinkle some stuff out and find guys to root for. This race is not the end all be all for DFS unless you're chasing, $1 million. There's $1 million online. Yeah, that's fun. Go chase it. But next week, when we get to the regular racetracks, that's when we are going to be able to impact slates more. We're going to be able to make more sound decisions and really have a great feel for the races. This is carnage filled. This is chaos. This is a lottery to an extent. So have fun, enjoy it. Try to be different if you're chasing big money. If you're in that big $1 million contest, don't play the chalk, ad nauseum. Be different. If you're doing some single entry stuff, yeah, get some chalk and sprinkle out some differences. But at the end of the day, just have fun. This week, all about fun. Next week, we'll get going and we'll start winning some real money.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you said, trust your gut. If you're in cash games, be boring. Start the last 6 guys who have some kind of decent equipment on them. Get that. That's where you're probably going to see your profits this week, and just have fun in GPP. Let your wife make a lineup. Let your dog make a lineup. Let your kids make a lineup. I don't care. Just throw darts, you spin a wheel, roll some dice, just have fun with it. Because like I said, that's probably just as good as advice as what I think we've given you. So the one thing you can predict is predict where everybody's going to go. That's the only thing you can predict.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to making my blind lineup and beating you guys all in head-to-head lineups. Let's let everybody get out of here, though. We're reaching that 30-minute mark. Jason, let them know where they can find your content this week and what you have in store.
Yeah, as always, you guys can find me over at runpuresports.com. My Daytona 500 article will probably be out Sunday morning, about 8 a.m. typically is when I get that stuff posted. Follow me on Twitter at DFS NASCAR for free NASCAR DFS content all season long.
All right, then over to you, Ryan, our trustee at DailyFanRacing, rocking the hat. Talk to us about where they can find you and all your amazing content.
So DailyFanRacing.com, biggest thing, merch. You're full. The biggest thing I'll say is, right now through the Daytona 500, we have a 50% off promo. Daytona 50 gets you 50% off of your first month. If you want to try us out, join us. That's the best way to do it. Obviously we got trucks tomorrow on Friday, Xfinity Saturday, Cup on Sunday. F1 starts the 1st of March. We're gonna have a ton of races over the first month here. So if you want to join us, now's the time. That's where all of our premium content is, full breakdown. Even on these dual races, which is weird, Dustin was still able to put 3,000 words together for the Cup article. I had my slate strategy article posted last night, which I really enjoyed doing. That was fun. Luke's supposed to be doing it, but I enjoyed doing it. So we had that. We have a lot of stuff going on. Free YouTube channel, obviously, free Discord, free newsletter. Everything's growing really good. So make sure you check this out. Austin Hill is out. Wow. So that puts Connor Daly in the show. That's crazy, man. But yeah, just check out all the free stuff. I would love for you guys to sub. I'd love for you to join us. Either way, support us, liking this video, subscribing to the channel. That's stuff that drives the needle too. So I appreciate everyone. It's really cool. I need 8 more followers for 2,000 on Twitter. Can we get that?
Oh, it's Kyle.
Whoa.
Kyle.
I need 8. Oh God, Kyle's got to be happy. Anyways, thank you guys. Thanks, Gordo, for joining us finally. For coming back. I've only done like 4 podcasts in a row without you, but thanks for finally showing up.
Yeah, no comment. After that, guys, if you don't see me anymore, it's because I do not want to do these videos with Ryan. Maybe I'll just do them with Jason in the background. No, I'm kidding. I'm happy to be back. Happy to be talking about these races and look forward to doing them for the up and coming races in the near future, guys. But make sure to please like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, show some love to Daily Fan Racing and all our great content creators over here. And guys, enjoy the races. Let's have some fun. See you guys.
Thank you.